Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy has got to be some of his finest work I've ever seen, and I'm a huge fan of Interstellar and Memento, but they are in a second place now compared to these. From the writing, directing, acting, and cast of characters they had, the most notable being Heath Ledger's Joker, Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul. I kind of forgot who played Bane. Sorry about that. Christian Bale's Batman, and it certainly was a huge redemption, pretty much from the last series of film, Batman and Robin. I will not get into that movie. um, but like, I love the story. I've watched all three movies. I just finished watching The Dark Knight Rises. Eh, I I gotta be honest. This has been. I loved all three of them. With my favorite being The Dark Knight for obvious reasons. Heath Ledger's Joker was simply phenomenal. My least favorite would have to be Batman Begins. Like, it's the origin story, and usually the first one is normally on the list in third place, since the sequel seems to get better. With New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But moving on from Star Wars, The Dark Knight is my favorite simply because it did have the flashback things that they did in both Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. It was pretty much straightforward. It also like centered around, especially Heath Ledger's Joker, is centered around the concept of individualism, surveillances, control, order. All this, in my viewpoint, how I saw the movie. Um, but really, it's because of Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker, which I said, okay, every Joker from then and to now is irrelevant. No one can beat Heath Ledger. Like, that Joker was perfect. Like, from the way he would change his backstory to give this more mysterious vibe to him, mystique vibe to him, that what did he go through? Like, whereas we know how Bane and obviously Ra's al Ghul, by guess, he grew up normally and just decided to do all this, while Bane was raised in this prison and whatnot, was in this prison and underwent some physical damage. But Joker's was more mystique. You couldn't tell what he was thinking, what he was feeling, how he became like that, how he got these scars, he always likes to say. And I really loved his quote of saying, "Why so serious?" Like, oh god. Heath Ledger was funny, entertaining, and downright serious and maniacal playing the Joker. And it was sad to hear Heath Ledger had passed away. Like, the role literally was his last. And I would have loved to see him play Joker again in Suicide Squad in the DC Cinematic Universe. It would have been awesome, especially how they want to take a more realistic vibe like they did with the Dark Knight trilogy. But overall, like, the movies were great. And they used more practical effects, like the bats I heard were CGI, since they thought getting a real bats would be problematic for production, so they wanted to not take that risk. My favorite villains would have to be the Joker at number one, Bane at number two, Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul at number three, and Scarecrow at, well, wait, Harvey Dent's in third place, since Two-Face and whatnot. Like, it showed the tragic hero. Fourth place is Ra's al Ghul. Fifth place is Scarecrow. Like, for all Scarecrow's appearances, you could easily have just replaced him with a different villain. Like, he wasn't really that special. So, really, that wasn't really a big deal with him showing up every time. Liam Neeson playing as Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, I that actually made sense to me. Like, yeah, he kind of looked like, I looked at an image of Ra's al Ghul from the comics, and I'm like, yeah, he does kind of look like a Ra's al Ghul. He would be perfect for that role. Though I've mostly seen him play as the good guy a lot of times, so it's hard to really see him as a villain at the on the other end of the spectrum. But he was convincing as Ra's al Ghul and had all these different identities to keep his secret. Like, if the internet was not spoiling everything, I would have said, "What a twist!" Like, Though something tells me it would have been obvious because it's Liam Neeson. This other guy that we don't know has no idea who this guy is, and he's not really well known actor from what I've seen, from what I've learned. So yeah, Liam Neeson is really Ra's al Ghul. He's just disguising himself as a henchman or an advisor. But and Bane was more somewhat in the gray, yet at the same time he was still a bad guy. Like he wanted to be a liberator, and uh, his idea was confusing for me a bit. Like how he says, "I want to give back to the people," and oh god, the voice of Bane, like when you look at him, he should sound intimidating, threatening, deep. His voice should be deep and whatnot, filled with authority, and yet he sounds like I have no idea how to describe his sound. And don't get me started on Christian Bale's Batman. Like, oh god, I keep thinking he's gargling on marbles or and whatnot, and like, I am Batman, fear me. And that made me laugh every time when I hear him talk as Batman. Like, oh god. Look, I know you're trying to disguise your voice, but can you do it more convincingly and not sound like you're gargling on marbles or your throat is caught with something and it can't get out? It just made me laugh a lot just hearing that voice. And the interrogation scene between him and the Joker was possibly my favorite scene in the movie. How the Joker compares him and Batman being pretty much the same guy, but yet totally different. And how Joker would say, "We are destined to do this forever." He wishes it was destined forever. Sadly, reality had to come bite its ugly head. But let's not talk about Heath Ledger's sudden passing from that day. But from what I heard, had Heath Ledger lived long enough, he would have appeared in Dark Knight Rises at trial by Cad Bane. It would have been cool to see what would the Joker do. Like, would he be killed off by Cad Bane? Well, I don't know why I called him Cad Bane for a second. I think it's because I've been watching too much Star Wars. But Bane, and was he supposed to be put on trial, get executed, or be in exile? Though I don't really picture him being in exile. I picture him most likely getting killed. Like, what would have happened if the Joker saved Batman instead of Catwoman? That would have been awesome to see. Saying that he's the only thing that keeps him alive. What makes him stay alive in this world? So that would have been awesome to see Heath Ledger again in Dark Knight Rises. But sadly, we never got a chance to see what would have happened. So we're left to what happened to the Joker after the whole thing was over. Did he die? Did he pass away? Did he kill himself in the story? Like he never showed up again. And quite honestly, for some strange reason, they never mention him again in Dark Knight Rises. Like that's a one major reason why it's in second place. Like you don't really talk about the Joker. Like yes, you talked about Harvey Dent and his fall from grace, but you never really talked about the Joker. Like he just never existed. Like that always confused me. Um, and also let's see, Christian Bale as Batman. He looked like Bruce Wayne. He sounded like Bruce Wayne. But the voice of Batman always made me laugh. Like, oh god. I can't. I said it before. I can't take it seriously. Like, that is not the voice of Batman. Like, he looks like the role, he fits the role, but the voice is just so funny to hear. It's that hilarious. Like, I know many people make jokes about it, but I keep seeing it and I'm thinking, like, dude, are you, like, gargling on marbles or something? Like, really, what's wrong with your voice? Like, one of my friends say, wait, is he sick or something? Is something wrong with him? And, like, I don't get why Christopher Nolan says, okay, speak like you're having a bunch of marbles shoved down your throat and you're gargling on them. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's the Batman voice we want. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't really sound intimidating. In fact, someone can look at this and say they didn't like it, but look at it and think it was a comedy. And they occasionally did one-liners, and like Batman saying in Batman Begins, "Nice coat" to the guy he sold his expensive coat to. Um, Always does the disappearing act, and I think I heard one person in one of the movies say, "I got to learn how to do that." I think I'm not 100% certain on that, but like, yeah, yeah. Obviously, they're gonna do some subtle fan service of one-liners and whatnot from the comic books of old, in order to not at least totally alienate the comic book fans. But these were great movies. They were solid movies. Were Christopher Nolan's best work. I have to give him credit for how he took Batman in this realistic, gritty manner. Like, it really felt like, okay, I can actually picture this somewhat happening, except for The Dark Knight Rises. I don't really see how the cops would all go in the tunnel, every single one of them, and whatnot. Like, I think they would send in mostly the SWAT team or National Guard or U.S. military, not the entire police force, and risk something like that. So Dark Knight Rises was sort of far fetched for me, but Dark Knight, the original, is the most realistic I can see happening, except for Harvey Dent's Two Face appearance. Like, granted, it was good, but let's be real. If someone was out there in public like that and had that face, yeah, chances of diseases are all time high. But someone like the Joker existing, oh yeah, yeah, I actually can picture that. Like, nostalgia critics said it best, like he was the darker reality. He's like a demon that can't be destroyed, the embodiment of anarchy and chaos. Yeah, the Joker looked like someone you would possibly meet in real life in terrorist threats. But thank God we'll never have to see one, hopefully. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for more.